In this video, I'm actually going to teach everybody the most optimal way to bet for the dealers. Now, when I'm bringing this down to the most optimal, I'm trying to minimize the amount to where it's more realistic. Now, I'm not just going to try to show everybody a way that's going to bet as much money as possible for the dealers, just for the simple fact that I am a dealer and I want to make more money from players betting better for us. And just because I strongly want to favor myself for more bets and better bets doesn't mean I'm going to teach everybody to just keep betting all sorts of money for us. I'm just going to teach everybody the most realistic and optimal way. Let's say, for example, you have a table of 10 to 15 players. If everybody is using the most optimal way to bet for the dealers, then you're actually going to see insane amounts of profits add up over the long run. Now, there are two different options. You may want to bet an all tall, all small, make them all for the dealers. If that's more your style, go for that. Now, the secret to the most optimal betting strategy in the world for the craps dealers is going to be you making a minimal bet every time it's your roll. So these bets are supposed to alternate between every new shooter. So you shouldn't always be the only one betting for the dealers. It should be everybody betting for the dealers, and it should be optimized to where you're not always doing it all the time, because let's be realistic, nobody is trying to just go gamble to make people money that you don't even know. Okay, you're basically not just trying to give your money away. Now, everybody is going to want to be classy about it. Okay, so now, let's just get into the strategy. You got my basic principle and concept behind this. Now, of course, me being a dealer, I'm going to bet more often for the dealer and more. I'm going to bet larger amounts and more frequently for the dealer, just because I know what it's like to be a dealer, and I'm on the dealer's side more than I'm there to actually play for myself. Now, I don't expect that everybody's a dealer, okay? Now, that is why it's up to everybody. If you want to bet more for the dealer, that's fine. That's up to you. If you want to bet more often for the dealer, that's fine. That's up to you. Now, this strategy is going to be purely showing the best way to bet for the dealer. Now, the best way to bet for the dealer is when it's your roll. So when it's my roll, okay, I'm going to tell you what I would do being a dealer, and then what I would expect from a person that is not a dealer. So if you're not a dealer, if you're not there to just make the dealer's money, because to be honest, if I go play craps, I'm mostly just going to make the dealer's money, because it's just it's how dealers are. When a dealer goes and plays craps, or let's say they deal blackjack, if they're going to go play blackjack, they're mostly just going to play to make the dealer money, and basically kind of show everybody how to make the dealer money, because that's how we make our money, is when players bet for us. Now, this is the best way. First of all, I'm going to show you the most optimal way to do it. Now, like I said, if there's an all tall, all small, make 'em all, and a sharpshooter bet or a fire bet, by all means, if that's more your style, bet them on that for $1, whatever. I recommend $2 to $5 every time it's your turn. It depends on how much you can afford. So for this example, we're going to conclude that we're going to bet the bare minimum. So the bare minimum to bet for a dealer is going to be $2, and that's just going to be a 6 and an 8 every time that it's your turn to shoot. So we're not even going to involve any sort of betting strategy or system into this besides what bets would be made for the dealer. So first of all, as soon as you get a point, you're going to bet $1 for the 6 and 8, and if you can player control the bets, I'll show you what you want to do. We're gonna consider that we're allowed to player control the bets. So a player control bet means that the bet can stay up and that they can bet with the money that they win. So let's just say that you're betting for the dealers with player control. Let me teach you the best way to bet for the dealers with player control. Now, if they don't have player control, the bets are going to have to come down. So let's just say that they don't have player control. Just when the bets hit and they go down, they make the money. You don't bet anything else. You just bet the $1, 6, and 8. That's it. That's literally it. Now we're going to show you, if there is player control, what you need to do. Because remember, when a dealer is dealing, we're not allowed to solicit or tell you what to do. So you need to make that choice and know what to do. Boom. So the dealers just made $1.16. So they have, and remember, these bets normally have to get rounded up. So we're going to consider that they just made $2. So if they just made $2 and you have player control, now you're going to say, okay, bet that $2 on the 5 and the 9. Boom, they just made another $2. Now what you want to do is you're going to say, drop the money. So they're going to drop the $2 and take the same bet. So you're going to collect, press, collect, press, collect, press. That is the most optimal way to do it. If you want to be absolutely the most optimal way to do it, you can just leave the bets at $1 and tell them to take the same bet every single time. In all honesty, that is, and that's only if everybody keeps doing it. If everybody keeps doing this over and over, it's going to add up to hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars. Now, let's say that you're not getting these bets all the time. Then you're going to want to maybe press these bets up a little bit harder. But we're going for the most optimal. So you have a few options. So we're going to collect some money. The dealers dropped $2. They just dropped another $2. Now you're going to tell them to bet the 4 and the 10 because you want them to make money every roll. So with that $2, you're going to have them across. And now you're going to go collect, press, collect, press. But let me show you the way to press it if we can make some more money. They made another $2. You first start with the 6 and the 8. So you press that $2 on the 6 and the 8. You collect. They just made $2. The dealers collect that money. You tell them same bet. Collect, press, collect, press. Now you press because they just collected. Now what do? You press the 5 and the 9. Collect, press. Boom, they just made $3. You tell them to drop it because they're collecting it. Collect, press, collect, press. Now they're going to press. Now what you do is you press the 6 and the 8 again. Because they just collected. Now you press $2. And then they dropped $1. You want them to drop as much money as often as possible. 7 out. Off that $2, they just made how much money? And that's why you don't just keep pressing everything, because at some point it's going to lose. Alright, so we're going to do it again. We're going to do the exact same strategy. The 6 and the 8, $1. They just made $2. That $2 goes on the 5 and the 9. $7 out. See, they were unable to collect any money on there, which is why you're trying to get that money dropped as frequently as possible. 8, 5 and the 9. They just collected $2. You tell them to drop it. They collect $2. Because now you're going to collect, press. After they collect that first one, then they go on the 10 and 4. Starts over. Now that goes on the 5 and the 9. The next hit, they collect it. They collect $2. Now, you're on the next one, you're going to put them on the 10 and 4 because you want them to make money every roll. And the next hit, you collect it. The dealers collected it. Next hit, you press it. You press that $2 on the 6 and the 8. Collect it. They drop $3. Collect, press, collect, press, collect, press. Now you go the 5 and 9. Drop $3. Collect. Press. You press the 6 and 8 again. They just made $4. They just collected. Now you press the 10 and the 4 last. And then they drop $2. Because they made $4, so you only press $2 and drop 2. You're dropping as much as possible. So they just pressed it. The next hit, they collect it. Boom, they just made $4. They drop $4. They collect it. Boom, they just made another $4. Now you press the 6 and 8 again. And you do that the same way every time. They collect it. They just made $5. You tell them, collect the money. They drop $5. The next one, you press the 5 and 9 $1. Boom. They just made $5 because that bet pays $4.50 rounded up. They made $5. You tell them to collect it. 7 out. That is all there is to it. That is all you have to do to bet for the dealers. And you only do that every time it's your turn to roll the dice. So if there's 10 people at the table, you're only betting $2 once every time it's your roll. Now, I'm going to show you how I would bet for the dealers, because I bet a little bit stronger and harder for the dealers. I'm going to start off with the $4 bet inside. They just made $2. I'm going to put them on the 10 and 4 immediately. They just made another $2. I'm going to press that on the 6 and the 8. They just hit a 9. I'm going to tell them to collect and press from this point the exact same way that I was doing it before. So they're going to collect $2, same bet. They just made $3. Now I'm going to press the 5 and the 9 and tell them to drop $1. They made another $2, so I'm going to tell them to collect it. They made $3, and now I'm going to press the 6 and the 8 for them. and tell them to drop $1. Now, if these bets start getting up higher, I'm going to start pressing a little bit harder for them, because that's the only difference with what I do, because I'm only betting for them a little bit more than a normal player. So I'm going to bet them $4 inside. And this is something you can do if you have more money and if it's your style. You could also bet them across, but it's more optimal to start here with just the inside. Boom, you put them on the 10 and 4 with that $2. You tell them to collect it. They are going to collect $2. 7 out. And that's why you want to try to have them collect as much money as possible, because that 7 is going to roll very often. So you bet $4 inside. Boom, you put them on the 10 and the 4. Now, any number that they hit, they're going to start making money. You tell them to collect. Collect that first hit. They just made $2. You press that on the 6 and 8 for them. They just made $3. Tell them to drop $3. 7 out. We'll do this a few more times just so everybody can see. You're going to put that money on the 10 and 4 for them, because now every single good number that's rolled, they make money. They collect the first one. They tell them to drop that $2. They made another $2. You press that on the 6 and 8 for them. Let's do it a few more times. You put that money on the 10 and 4 for them. 7 out. That money's going on the 10 and 4 every time. Tell them to collect that $2. That money goes on the 6 and the 8. They just made $2. Okay, they made $3. You tell them to drop it. Collect that money. So they've already collected $5. They just made $2. You tell them to press the 5 and the 9. 7 out. I'm going to do a couple more examples just so everybody can see. Throw them on the 10 and 4. They made $2. Tell them to collect that first hit. You put that on the 10 and 4 for them. 7 out. Remember, dealers are gamblers, so when we lose that 10 and 4 right away, we're not mad about that, because it's just the simple fact that you bet for us and we love that. Now you collect that $2 the first time for safety purposes. It's just to be safe. You press that 6 and 8, you collect. Press collect, press collect. Now you bet that they made $3, you put $2 on the 5 and the 9. The next hit would go on the 6 and 8, and then the 10 and 4. So you press the 10 and 4 twice as slow as you're pressing the inside. Let's do it a few more times to see if we can really build up some large bets for them. 10 and 4. Collect that money. They made $2. You put them on the 6 and 8 pressure. Tell them to collect that. They just made $2. They just made $3. You press that on the 5 and 9, $2, and you tell them to drop $1. They just made $3. You Since they just pressed, you tell them to collect. Tell them to keep $3. Now they're going to press. They made $2. You're pressing the 6 and 8. They just made $2. You tell them to collect it because they just pressed. 7 out. That was a really good roll for the dealers there. So let's do it a few more times. And you can see how if everybody does this, the dealers are going to make hundreds and thousands of dollars. And you're barely even doing anything. And you want the dealers on your side because most of the time the dealers are going to help you out. And you're also potentially going to make better comps in the system when the supervisor sees that you're betting for the dealers. That is just the way casinos work. They will give you bonus comps if you're taking care of their dealers. Now, I'm not saying that it's like that all the time, but more often than not, that will happen. 7 out. So you might be able to get a free room with the money you're betting for these dealers, and you might even get the room for cheaper than if you were to pay for it, than if you were just to bet for the dealers. So you may potentially get yourself a free room for less money by just betting a little bit for the dealers. Like, let's say that you were to only bet $50 worth of money for the dealers. That adds up to a few $100 for them or whatever, but you get a free room. So a room's normally $100 to $200. So you may bet only $50 for these dealers and get yourself a free room, which is a win-win for everybody. Now, I'm not saying that it's always going to be like that, but I'm just saying there's a better chance of that actually happening. So don't expect it to be like that, and don't expect it to happen like that, but now you got the inside information on how to make extra bonus points on your comps. You will get more comps when you bet for the dealers because you're increasing your bet. That's what they base it on. They base it on how much you're betting, how long you're betting, and how often you're betting. And sometimes they may just increase your comps and bet size more just for the simple fact that you're betting for the dealers. So they may even just say you're betting a little bit more than you really are. It's different everywhere you go. It just depends. So remember, we just collected, so we're going to press the 6 and 8. Now we're going to collect, they collected $3. Let's pull up a calculator to keep track of how much money the dealers are winning and how much you're losing. So I'm going to have two calculators here. I'm going to do it on the side so then I can keep track of it. But we're going to do that next roll. So I believe we just collected, so we're going to press the 5 and 9. So they just made $3, you tell them to collect it. Now they're going to press 6 and 8. Drop $1. Tell them to drop $3 because they just pressed it. And now you're going to press the 10 and the 4, and you're going to tell them to drop $2 because they just made $4. They just made $3. Tell them to drop it because they just pressed the 10 and 4. They just made $4. Now you're going to tell them to press the 6 and 8 and drop $2. They just made $4. You're going to tell them to collect it. They just made $3. You're telling them to press the 5 and 9, drop $1. They just made $5. You tell them to drop $5. Now you're going to press the 6 and 8 $1 and tell them to drop $3. They just made $4. You tell them to drop it because they just collected it. 7 out. Now, let's keep track of how much you're spending and how much they're making. So, I'm keeping track. I have a calculator over here on the other side of my screen. Oops. I have two calculators open. How much I'm betting and how much they're collecting. So, let's keep track of. So, right now on one calculator, I put $4 because I've bet $4 for them, and I'm going to keep track of how much they make. Okay, so right now they didn't make anything because they're betting it on the 10 and 4. Now they're going to drop $2, so you made them $2. So on my other calculator, I'm keeping track, hey, they just made $2. Now they're going to press the 6 and 8. They just made $2. They just made $2. We're going to say, hey, they just made $2. They're going to collect it. So now they're breaking even. So they just collected that, and now you're going to press the 5 and the 9. $5 and 9. They just made $3. They just press it, so you tell them to drop $3. So far they've made $7 that they've dropped. And you only started with 4. Okay, so they just dropped that last one. So they're going to press the 6 and 8, and they're going to drop $1. So they made another $1. Now they just made $4. You tell them to drop $4. They just made $2. You tell them to press the 4 and 10. They just made $3. You tell them to drop it. So they just dropped that $3, and now they're going to press again. They're going to press the... I think I messed up. But we're going to say we're going to have them press the 6 and the 8. And then they're going to drop... They just made another $2. They just made $5. You tell them to drop $5. They just made $3. You tell them to press the 5 and 9 and drop $1. They just made $4. You tell them to drop it. So they just made $5. You're going to have them press the 6 and 8 again. No, I think it would be the 4 and 10. I'm a little bit off on this, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So then they drop 3 because they press 2. Let's see what happens here. Oh, another $5. You tell them to drop that. Boom, they just made $6. You tell them to press the 6 and 8 and then drop $3. 7 out. So this is what happened. You literally only bet $4 for the dealers and they drop $38. That there is how to bet the most optimal for the dealers. I will show you the final strategy if you want to bet more for the dealers. Now, if you want to bet more for the dealers, you just bet across. You tell them to drop $2. Now you press $2, 7 out. And that's the only difference. If you want to bet as much as you can, just bet $1 across for them. I like to bet $4 because it's more optimal, but I will tend to bet $6 across for them if I am up a lot of money. So the first hit, you tell them to keep it. Now you press the 6 and the 8. Tell them to drop $2. Press the 5 and the 9. 7 out. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I was saying, I kind of was losing track on where I was at. You know, you just want to kind of do it as close as possible to what you're doing. So if you forget, don't get so mad. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that was the first hit. They're going to drop it. Same bet. Now they're going to press the 6 and the 8. They're going to take $2. Same bet. Now they're going to take that $2 and press it on the 5 and the 9. 7 out. And that is why you're trying to have them drop as much of their money as possible, is because the 7 rolls very, very, very often. So it's stupid to just keep pressing all of your winnings on bets that will lose. They will lose eventually. And you don't know if it's going to be sooner. You don't know if it's going to be later. So it's stupid to just keep gambling all your money. You need to collect as much money as possible. A gambler will want to just keep betting all their money, all their money. They're stupid. Okay, same bet. Now we're going to press that $2 on the 6 and the 8. They made $3. You press the 5 and 9, you tell them to drop $1. Tell them to collect $3. Same bet. Now you tell them to press the 6 and 8 and drop $1 because they made $3. 7 out. And that is the most optimal way to bet for a dealer.